virtue and our sacred order.
Well, I think that's probably good enough to start with. Just so everybody's aware out there, it is 9 hours ago. The White House is dropping Crossing the Delaware 10-minute video out on the social media websites. But before we get too much more into that stuff, how is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? It is indeed Monday, December 15th, 2025, and we are live with a murderous episode in many different ways. A lot of murders, a lot of people being found killed, a lot of shootings, and I guess it's fitting, Mac and Lisa, that today's show is 187, which is the police code for murder. But before we get too much further into that type of business, let's bring on Miss Lisa and Mr. Mac. Miss Lisa from across the pond, how's everything going in the UK? Hopefully it's not as cold as it is here. It's 20 degrees and freezing and snow on the ground.
It's cold, but maybe not as cold as that. It has been. But, you know, we're faring quite well at the moment, I would say. Yep, things are going good. Looking forward to the show. And, yeah, lots going on, as usual. You know, hoping we can plow through quite a few of these subjects that are coming up. You know, there's a lot that I want to talk about today.
So many. Mr. Mac, sir, how's it going today, brother?
Uh-oh. Is going good. Can you hear me all right?
There we go. Yep, we can, sir.
Sorry about that. It's going great. Thanks for having us, as usual. Thanks to everybody who tunes in. Thanks to the mods. Looking forward to our discussion today. It's been quite a week, and this is very interesting symbolism as everyone who pays attention to history and the Q posts what crossing the Delaware meant. So
big time.
I think we're gonna have a big Christmas. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some Merry Christmas gifts here. We'll just kibosh this one right here. But you know, just as I happen to have it up on the tab here, I guess we can probably go into one of the shootings that's a little bit close to home. Now, this is a very weird situation. Obviously, I live in a very liberal state of Rhode Island, very Democrat, very corrupt, very, very corrupt. I've talked about the mayor who went to federal prison, got back out, and then got reelected. That type of stuff. So as this happened, they came out and they were like, oh, they got the dude, and, you know, person in custody shot 2. I think it was originally they said 15 to 20 people were shot, blah, blah, blah. And then later on it turned into 2 were killed, and then 8 were shot, and then in critical, I think it turned into 9. And then at that point, they didn't have anybody. President Trump posted that they did because that was what they were saying. Shortly thereafter, they're like, no, we don't have anybody in custody. And then fast forward a couple hours later, they were like, oh, yep, we got a person of interest here that we're looking for. And then fast forward again, and they're like, oh, yep, that person of interest didn't really pan out. And then today, they apparently have another person identified as a person of interest. So very weird situation. And that first person that came out was like, would have been a prime suspect, right? He just came out of the military, just got transferred over here to basically enroll in the fall or whatever. And so he would have been the good patsy, but apparently it didn't work out. Now, I don't know what you guys have heard about it. You know, Lisa's across the pond and Mac is down in on the East Coast, you know, much more south than me, but this is just, it's wild as far as how this is unfolding. And the messaging that I did not like about it was that they kept saying, even the next day, like, oh, this is an active situation. You have people around here scared, like, as if there's some guy out there just randomly going around shooting. The last shot was at like 4 o'clock, 4:30 or something like that. And at 8:30, they're like, this is still active. It's like, no, that hasn't been a shot in 4 hours. And then the next day, you're talking 24 hours. Yeah, I understand they're looking for somebody, but Mac, I guess you're a little closer to home. We'll go with you first on this one. Anything that you've picked up on this? Any tidbits or anything you want to add to this thing here? Because this is just a weird and unfolding situation as we go here. And here's allegedly a video of a new person of interest.
Yeah, I just can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, finally they're showing some footage. I would think there's cameras all around the university itself.
Yeah, you would.
So I in today's day and age, I wonder if it's a tactic not to divulge too much evidence while they track the criminal, and see if there's an organized effort here and all that stuff, and down the line find out. But I don't know, man. It just it seems like it was very suspicious that they haven't found the shooter yet, like you said.
Right. Lisa, anything, and I'm going to kind of pull an overhead view of the area just to kind of give you a little bit of what's going on. This is like a city, right? And it's in Providence, Rhode Island, and it is Brown University. But like most campuses, you have different buildings, different campuses. And this is just, I think it was the mayor, Smiley. He was saying essentially that both of his kids graduated from Brown University in the engineering department. And as it happens, that's just an old building, Lisa. They just happen to have an old building right there that they attached the new building to the old building, essentially, is what they're saying, is why there's no footage inside that particular area. So I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to add to this first shooting that we're going to discuss today. Oh, my goodness.
Not really. Not on the Brown University. I didn't really read about that. I was reading about other things going on elsewhere.
Oh God. Oh God. You know, yeah, and I think, we'll let this one go because we have so much stuff, guys. And people love to hear you say the word rubbish too, Lisa. So Airman 66 says, Lisa says, it's all rubbish. All rubbish. And I love Lisa's accent as well too. The way the old King's language there, how they say things the proper way, but we shortcut everything here. So you know what I'm gonna do with this story, guys? We don't have much clarity on it. I think 28-hour, 48-hour rule. We should probably revisit this stuff because, apparently there's a second person that they have an interest or whatever. And when that person or whatever they decide to do, we'll kind of revisit this. But because, like, Lisa, thank you for reminding me that there's so much stuff that we could be talking about here. So I don't know if we should go with, let's go with this. Mac dropped this, and I'm going to drop actually the video of what Mac dropped in a minute here, but we're going to cover this part of it really quickly here. A little clip from Fox News, and let's take a listen really quick.
The FBI now reports that it's disrupted a planned New Year's Eve terror attack in Los Angeles. 4 suspects in custody, the FBI identifying them as members of a pro-Palestine extremist group. They're suspected of planning coordinated IED attacks targeting 5 different locations in Los Angeles. But based on the reporting now, that plot has been foiled. We will wait for more out of LA or out of Washington, D.C. The FBI.
So pretty crazy situation here, guys, where we have the FBI again. And hopefully this isn't the same as we've been dealing with in the past, right? We've talked about it numerous times. Oh, look it, the FBI thwarted a bombing thing. And then later on, these are obviously under crappy administrations. But in the past, numerous times we found out, oh my God, the FBI actually gave those people the bombs to go, set off whatever it was or whatever. So absolutely really good that they are doing this. And I'm going to basically pull in Mac's video first, and then I have some other stuff to go over with this. This is actually pretty interesting to where this stuff may lead back to. So I'm going to play Mac's video here, and then we're going to maybe take some discussion, and then I'll show you the piece de resistance having to do with this.
And this is the video is as I mentioned in my talking points on December 12th, a group of individuals, again members of this a government group, traveled out to the desert to test their explosive devices. They had precursor chemicals there, and they were going to create these bombs in the desert. What they're starting to do is put their chemicals, wares, and the components out on the table. This footage that you're watching is from our surveillance plane, and then what happened after this. The Los Angeles FBI SWAT team, along with the FBI's hostage rescue team, moved in and arrested all 4 subjects without incident.
I will take. Yeah, we're not naming the victim companies, but I'll generally describe them as logistics centers, but we're not naming. There were at least 5 locations that they intended to target. Los Angeles. Again, we're not giving out the specific sites, but they are willing and wanting to do more if they members medical efforts.
Yeah, they're not going to give much more. But that's Bill Asaley, guys, and he's been doing quite a good job over there as well. And as they were talking, I think I went with Mac first, so we'll go with Lisa. Even though this was Mac's clip, we'll go with Lisa first. Ladies first, then we're switching rotations here. Lisa, so apparently they had 5 different locations, and they were going to start blowing off bombs around New Year's, and essentially this was thwarted. I don't know if you had any more comments to this, but I do have more to add to this information as well.
No, I haven't, but I'm just looking at that policeman's hands.
Always. That's just a resting hand. I mean, Trump does that too, but I mean, yeah. I've never done that. I don't think I've ever sat there with my hands like that. Not that I'm aware of anyway. I don't know.
But it's also a way of increasing energy as well. It's like connecting a circuit, you know?
Yeah, left and right.
Yeah, apparently.
All right, Mac. Anything until anything before I bring out this next little piece of who it may be connected to? Because this is interesting.
Just a little bit of tidbit of information. Over 10,000 illegal immigrants were arrested in Los Angeles in the last 6 months.
Oh,
so and those are criminals,
Oh God, yeah. But what about the Purple Heart recipient? They got rid of this guy, and he was a U.S. Marine, and he was a Purple Heart recipient. And then what I say last week, guys, there's always more to the story. Well, this guy was a war hero, and then decided to come back to civilian life and shoot up a house party and shot some girl in the leg. So, yeah, I don't know if he should be deported or put in jail, but what the case might be. But yeah, there's always more to the story that they tell you guys, and so just keep that in mind. And let me get this other one here. So let me pull this one up, guys. So. This is interesting. This is a little bit of a long post, and I don't think I'm probably going to have time to read all of it because this one goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But let me show the folks here. So the first post, if you guys remember, this dude is the cell phone data guy, right? He has the biggest database. Him and his company have the biggest database of IP addresses in the world, essentially. So what this guy says is, remember, we're talking about these people that we're going to be bombing things, right? GPS, 2 of the 5 suspects, Audrey Carroll and Zachary Page, appear to have met with lesbian and Antifa sympathizer Camille Zapata, whose full name is Camille Harper Zapata, based in Stockton, California, on 3 occasions in 2 months. Well, what is her job? She currently serves as the digital director for Governor Newsom's basically California Governor Gavin Newsom, a role she has held since around June of 24, leading a small team of 3 that handles graphic design, social media strategy, rapid response content across platforms like X, blah, 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 Blue Sky, TikTok. He is directly responsible for managing and overseeing Newsom's social media presence. So what is she doing meeting with 2 of the 5 people in this situation? Did you guys, I don't know if Mac or Lisa, have you... I dropped this not too long before the show, but I don't know if either of you guys had seen this or wanted to comment on this, but she's connected to social media with Gavin Newsom, meeting with 2 of the 5 bombers. Mac, I think I have to go this way this time. Mac, any comments on this now that we have this?
This is the first time I've seen this, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, the Palisades, I forget the guy's name, but he's been doing a lot of digging on the corruption of allowing the Palisades fire to get out of hand.
The dude that was an actor?
Yeah, and then
Spencer
I think
something.
it actually took the next step, and there's an investigation now. But this is all connected. It's just the corruption is in California, Gavin Newsom's helm, and seems like the puppeteer right now of that situation.
Oh, it's bad. Dude, I just said that dude's name and I completely forgot. What was that dude's first name again? I literally just said it to you. He was the one that was with the girl on that friggin' stupid reality show.
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and I just had it. But Lisa, anything else you want to add to this? Because, I mean, it's pretty interesting that all these people have these connections to social media, and one wonders, like, why the hell would she be meeting with these people? I mean, I don't think anything good, right? I don't think anything good was coming from her meeting with these people.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but I noticed that it said that they were connected to some lesbian group. If you remember, regarding the Palisades and all of that.
Oh, hey, Lisa.
The
Lisa, you got a little static.
You got a really bad static going on for a second here.
How's it now?
It's gone now.
How's
Let
it?
me see. I think it's when you're making a noise. It just did it there again, and it stopped now. Let me see if you want to say something again. Hello?
Okay, so is that better?
It's
No.
maybe come back in the room or whatever and come back out.
Okay.
Might be that type of situation that's going on, and I'll hold this.
But hold that thought, though.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely hold that thought because that's a good one, and it's Spencer Pratt. And I'll make sure I let Lisa back into the room.
There you go.
Yeah, Spencer Pratt, the dude from I forget what show it was. Him and that girl, Heidi, whatever she was dating or married to or whatever. But yeah, he's so I'm looking at a post now, and back in November 22nd, as it happens, he's posting out the Internal Revenue Service has confirmed that Gavin Newsom is running a criminal enterprise. Spencer Pratt met with criminal investigators at the IRS. $800 million were given as aid for the Pacific Palisades and the Los Angeles victims, but not a single dollar while the governor had his Section 8 secured through theft. Says, do we have a U.S. Attorney General? So yeah, it's really bad, the stuff that they're doing over there. And we know, unfortunately, we've seen what happened in Hawaii, and it feels like the same thing is happening over here. Okay, Lisa's back in. Let's pop her in. Going to take her a second to connect with this, but yeah, guys, I mean, it is just wild. Who would have thought, dude, that this Monday would be this out of control, huh? I mean, all the stuff from this weekend and whatnot is just absolutely. I can almost feel it yesterday night.
Q always says when good news is about to break,
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
and yeah, we got some of that too.
kind of follows suit with, unfortunately, what the pattern is of these deep state operations, or whatever you want to call them. And there's always the dates. The dates always seem to reoccur, and
what was the anniversary there? What was the anniversary yesterday, Mac? That was Sandy Hook, wasn't it?
I'm not Parkland or Sandy Hook. I'm not sure. I just know that there's like two people that were at Brown University were survivors of Parkland. That's really suspicious.
Oh,
it just everything just seems it just seems off. Like these are false flags of some sort.
Absolutely.
And we're not grasping how this is being done, other than we can just say like MK Ultra and brainwashing, but we're not really in full grasp of what it is. And I think Lisa probably might have further depth into that technologically. But is she back?
Yep, she's back in. Let's see if the mic's working better now. Lisa, you good?
How does it sound?
Oh, you sound buttery. Perfect.
Okay, good. All right. So what I was thinking of was surrounding the Palisades and the fire there. Wasn't it? And you said about these people connected to Antifa and lesbian groups, so activism and stuff. Should we call it terrorist activism? And wasn't there the lady that was appointed the head of the fire department? So they made a lot of cuts. They put this lady in charge. She was a lesbian, and she beat up her girlfriend. And then with the electricity company, there was a lady put in charge of that, and she was given, I think it was double the wages that anybody else prior who had had that job had been given. I don't know. And then you've got Gavin Newsom, speaking out against ICE, and a lot of people speaking out against ICE, and then trying to say that ICE are racist and their targeting is racist and all of that. Yet, Mac, you mentioned about 10,000 people being arrested in LA itself. Yes.
Yeah.
It does seem connected, and then also you've had the jackknifing of a lorry, killed a 5-year-old girl, maybe injured some other people. that's not the only time, and it was an illegal migrant that was driving that, who was illegal, who had committed some crimes, and they're jumping up and down saying that he should be released.
Would you say lorry? What's a lorry?
A lorry is a truck.
I'm literally Googling that as we speak.
Flatbed, a
I was
lorry.
going to say, Lisa, you're going to have to explain that to everyone.
I was literally
For
typing.
American.
Yeah,
It's LORRY, a lorry we call it. A lorry is a big truck, you know?
As you were saying, I was typing British word for tractor, and I was about to write trailer. So I figured, yeah.
And a couple of other things. The billionaire real estate tycoon, Rick Caruso, has been really pushing the cover-up of the Palisades by Democrats in Los Angeles. There's a short clip if you want to play that.
Absolutely.
And then also, what's his name? You just said his name.
Spencer Pratt?
Spencer, yeah. He says that the Getty family is actually possibly, allegedly, also behind collecting funds and possibly more off these fires. And we all have been paying attention how these quote-unquote natural disasters have been paving the way for 15-minute cities or real estate projects that have been years in the works. So there's stuff going on. What's that, Lisa?
I hear that Gavin Newsom was, collecting money for supposedly rebuilding, and he was directing that money to his campaign and not to the rebuilding of the houses. And I do remember him making an announcement to say that, he's done some deal, and basically it's to sell off the properties to, I think it might have been a Chinese company.
Low-income housing. It was low-income housing and probably Chinese-owned, I would guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was, but I just know that the deal that he'd done just made it easier for somebody to take over the properties. But also, when you think about it, the spat that President Trump had with Karen Bass, they were deliberately obstructing people from rebuilding their houses. All the debacle about being able to move the rubble and also get the relevant licenses or permits to be able to rebuild their houses. They seem to deliberately make it difficult and also prolong the time that it takes.
Disgusting. Yeah, they're just trying to make people wait it out.
Yeah, but I agree, like California is that place where it seems that, they're pretty bankrupt, even though their economy is the revenue that they generate, but then the policies that they have, it's bankrupt. They can't afford their green energy projects. Go and have a look at their Treasury website. They've got loads of projects, but they don't have the money. And it's like, well, why not? Given that you're a state that generates the equivalent of a medium-sized country, where is this money going? Where?
No, yeah, exactly. In the pockets of the folks out there. And I'm gonna play this video here, but thank you to Mr. Leota. Drop the dollar rumble rant. He says, hashtag dollar holla. Let's get this hashtag dollar holla train rolling. It's a hell of a ride. Chug chug with Q's instead of G's. So thanks for that. And let's listen to this little clip here that Mac dropped.
I hope more people start talking about the cover-up on the fire in the Palisades. In the LA Times, yesterday's edition, there it is. Headline, Fire Crews, Palisades Concerns Hidden. What the article talks about is the firefighters were concerned about leaving the original blaze that was put out on January 2nd because they knew it wasn't completely out, and they told their superiors they shouldn't leave the site on January 2nd. But they were ordered to go back to the station against the recommendation of the firefighters who were actually there and felt the ground, felt the roots, that they were still hot. Interestingly, it was never reported in the after-action report issued by the city. Seems like a cover-up. Anyway, read the article, yesterday's LA Times, and good job to the reporters of the LA Times for digging in and getting out the truth. Take care.
Here we go. Space
Yes.
mute. Yeah, now I'm space muting out over here. I got my. Oh, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I have the new mic. I think this is the first show with the new mic, and it does work, but it doesn't have a button for the mute. It's got like a sensor button, so it's a little weird for me. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy what they're doing. So that's a billionaire real estate tycoon. He says using his platform to raise awareness in the Pacific Palisades because of a cover-up in Los Angeles by the Democrats. And here's the thing, guys. Do you guys ever get the feeling that I get sometimes from time to time where you wish like you had the audience of every person on the planet and you could just set some things straight, right? Like you have a billionaire here, and this guy can't even get his word out to like a crap load of people, right? You'd figure maybe do some media, pay for some spots or whatever. But here we are, trying to do the best we can. We don't have billions of dollars, but we have a microphone and a laptop, so we do the best that we can. But I do get frustrated sometimes because we're constantly correcting the lies of the other side. And it's always clarification, and it's always lies, and it's always misrepresentations. And it is getting a little bit old. So I'm a part of me is just like, I wish these people would do what the other side would do. But I do believe patience is a virtue, and good things come to those who wait, but we will not wait forever, of course.
Well, wasn't it announced this week that President Trump was going to do a wing of his library dedicated to fake news?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and then this dude here, Mac dropped, been waiting for the Getty family to finally get called out. They're alleged involved in starting the Palisades fires and collecting off the funds and possibly more. And guys, years and years ago, funny thing, because I used to get them all the time. I used to get really bad migraines, and I had to cancel on this one dude, and I wish I didn't. Unfortunately, I did have a very bad migraine, but we were going to do a show about the Getty Museum. Do you guys know they have nuclear, like, blast proof
bomb
doors?
shelter.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy, right? It's like, oh, well, we have to protect all the, the stuff in the museum. Yeah. Like, really, a bomb? Like nuclear? And then people say there's a huge city. Like, there's not even a question if there is. It's just, my question is, how big is that city underneath, I guess, our whole country, I guess you could say at this point. But any thoughts on this stuff, guys? I mean, it sounds like you maybe want to get in on that, Mac.
Yeah, I mean, you can play it. He explains how they're involved, but the Getty family definitely has some deep root ties in our society. Obviously, the Getty photos, but there's also oil. They're a big oil family. The Getty Museum, I suggest people look into YouTube. There's some, quote unquote conspiracy theory videos. One guy gives a testimony of what's underneath there. It's pretty wild, but you got to take it with a grain of salt. But it makes you wonder, definitely. And they have valuable artwork and so forth. So following the Q drops and how transportation of art is and valuable items like that, and how they coincide with trafficking, and then you take it into underground facilities, and what's the easiest way to traffic? Underground, because there's no monitoring. So you got to take your mind there.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, dude, and I'm glad that one of you guys I think both of you guys had actually, propped me to look this up while we were going here, and I guess this is all I needed to see. This is my state. Again, guys, really liberal, bad, corrupt state of Rhode Island, heavy Democrats. This is really all I needed to see, and I think college student, 20 years old, survived Brown University tragedy. Years after Parkland High School mass shooting. I'm really angry. Let's see here. Zoe Weissman. That's an interesting. Weissman. That's Dutch, right? Dutch Irish? Excuse me. College sophomore survived the shooting tragedy at Brown University December 13, years after she was a student during the mass shooting at a high school in Parkland, Florida in 2018. Well, this isn't a new phenomenon. And we're going to get up to a point where there's more people like myself who survived 2 of these. Oh, I bet you were. Freaking the crisis actors are in high demand now, guys. They need new people. And now it says at least 2 people died and 9 others were injured at the Rhode Island-based college while 17 people were murdered and 18 others were injured during the Florida high school tragedy. And I will just remind everybody, I didn't even follow the trial on that. I don't even know if that dude, Nicholas Cruz, the patsy that they said did that, if he ever went to jail, what the situation was. But all I needed to see was the video of that blonde girl saying, I was walking down the hall while I was hearing gunshots in other parts of the school, walking right next to Nicholas Cruz. And I remember looking up to him and saying, oh, you're here. I thought this would have been you. And he said, huh? All right. So the whole Nicholas David Cruz did that whole situation out the window. The fact that we have another person here, I mean, I guess it's, could be a coincidence thing, but there's too many coincidences for my taste. I don't know, Mac or Elise, if you have anything else you want to add about this one, but we're going to move on to the next shooting. Oh, it's numbing, guys. It's absolutely numbing. Yeah. It's numbing.
Oh, by the way, you were talking about the Gettys. We might as well just kind of remind everybody of their involvement in California. Let's say financial and relationships with everybody from Nancy Pelosi to Gavin Newsom to Willie Brown, all of these different people. They seem to, have their have had their claws into California for a very long time. Very long time.
Crazy.
Isn't there isn't it in the Q post where there's a like a diagram showing you all of the different politicians that they're connected to? Yes? I don't know which Q post it is.
It has the Newsom, Pelosi, Getty, and Brown family on it, I believe.
Yeah, it's got the whole what do you call it? Like the little graphic, if I'm not mistaken. Quick here, because I think if you just look Getty up. One post featuring Getty family. There it is, guys. Oh God, we're gonna have to go a little bit smaller with this one. Back.
Four families, 3 generations.
Yep. The Browns, the Pelosi's, the Newsoms, and the Gettys. So you had Pat and William over Newsom. Then we have the Getty, 3 Paul, Gordon, and Billy. And then what is Gavin? Gettys informally adopt Gavin. Isn't that cute? Appoints William Judge. So yeah, they were playing these old games where they have power, they appoint another person to power, and they just keep that circle going round and round and round. And what does it say? System of control. Yeah, absolutely system of control. Let me see if I got this other one here. But yeah, the shooting guys in what do you call it? Australia. Like,
Bondi Beach.
Yeah, what are you making of that? So I'll just pull up one of these, and just so this is, unfortunately, this is apparently 2 dead bodies here. And
I sent you the video of the arrest.
Okay, good. And so here's the quote. This is interesting. They got a few different shots of this going on here. Now there's a guy shooting with a long rifle here, shooting to the left of our screen here. There's also a guy on a bridge off to the right side over here, also shooting in this direction. And what's weird to me is there are people really close to him, running underneath the bridge, that he could just literally, point the rifle right over the bridge and be like, poop, poop, shoot as many as he wanted right there. But they didn't. So apparently this guy is a hero, I guess, in a weird way. Well, he is. He allegedly stopped the shooting, took the gun from the guy, didn't shoot the dude, which I sit there and I was seeing you shooting a bunch of my country people, and there was another guy still shooting at me, if you can hear in the background. That's not this guy. That's the other guy on the bridge here, still shooting. And I don't know who he's waving to. He's like, yeah, thumbs up, we're good.
Yeah, the police were kind of swarming the place, and he knew that.
Oh, okay. And look, he's still throwing rocks at the guy. And look, he's just walking off casually towards this guy who's just blasting rounds. And there is another rifle on the ground. I think he goes and picks it up here. But there's another view from somebody over here. And this is weird too. If you notice this guy, there's people pretty close to him in this direction. And look at this guy right here, right around the corner. You got all these people coming under the bridge and stuff from the other angle.
He gets shot here at the left.
Oh, this guy gets
comes
shot?
up behind. Yeah, right up behind.
And then, yeah,
He'll come
you
up
got,
on this tree here. You'll see in the background, and then he shoots and takes him down.
Cool. Yeah, and interesting. So now it looks like the other guy got back, the one that had the rifle taken off of him by this guy. And so did he just get
he
hit
got
by something?
shot.
Yeah, it's
He
like,
got
dude,
shot. He actually
Jeez.
got shot in the arm.
That's the same. I don't know if that's the same person that took the gun away or not. Was it? I
No,
don't know if that was the other dude. But the weird part of it is, if I have the footage, because I've been passing this stuff. Oh, here we go.
there's a
This the
guy comes in. Yeah, he's got a gun. He lines it up on the tree.
Pop.
Steady aim. Popped him.
Right here. Boom. Oh, right before the
Oh, they
gunshots.
They didn't share that. There's more to it, obviously.
Bondi is not a huge place, and it is very busy. So when it comes to people, there is nowhere to go. You've got the north side and the south side of Bondi, and then you've got the next beach, which is called Bronte Beach, and literally it is a promenade where you've got shops and cafes and some apartments as well that kind of circle the beach, or like in a half circle, and then you've got the road, the pavement, and then the promenade, and then the beach, and then the sea, and it is like like a crescent shape, and it is packed with people, and they're on the beach, so they are pretty much trapped, because I'm thinking about that bridge, and that bridge is, if you're facing the sea, it's off to the right, and that's where a lot of people come into Bondi Beach, because if you continue walking, then you literally get to the edge of a cliff. Do you see what I mean? And the sea. So there's nowhere to go, and that is the busiest part of people entering and exiting Bondi Beach, and it's busy from morning through to the evening. It's one of the most popular places in you can look up Bondi FM, and Bondi FM have a live 24-hour camera on Bondi Beach,
Oh, you do have that up, folks. Block this for a second here. And what were they? Who are these guys? Are they Palestinians or whatever? Because
they're father and son.
That's right. That's right. Yes, father and son. And I'll just put the volume down so we can listen to this. And so a father and son team. Like, that's what me and my son are gonna do this weekend. We're gonna go kill a bunch of people. Like, I don't know. And guys, the first thing I thought, I'm like, oh, where was this? It was Bondi Beach. It's like, oh, that's spelled the same way as Pam Bondi. And so I'm thinking, like, my very first thought was like, is this like a message to like Pam Bondi to do something or stop doing something or keep doing something, whatever the case may be, you know? And
see,
then it's moved.
You can see the beach and the shape of it, so,
No,
there's nowhere for people to go.
Do we know whereabouts that?
I've lived there for a while.
Where's that bridge? Do we know where that bridge is compared to where the shooting is?
It's off to the right. Sorry, the top of the screen. Somewhere around there. Yeah, somewhere around. It's probably a bit further over, but it's somewhere around there.
Looks like all the cop cars are right here. Yeah. But yeah, amazing. And just another shooting, and of course, I do this to myself all the time too. Like I have so many different links, and sometimes I don't even know where the hell I put them. But there was a video of Bibi Netanyahu was essentially warning Australia of all of their anti-Semitic stuff that they've been saying over, and I'm thinking to myself, really? Like, what are they allowing? So did you guys see that one? Warns, in my opinion, warned Australia.
I guess Australia didn't listen.
But then, I don't know. But then again, it's like, is this just another thing right here? Here we go. Let me pop it up for you guys, and it's just, and this is again one of those points where it dumbfounds me to the point where this is where I want, like, I wish I could have the ear, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way, that they could have the ear of, everybody on the planet to be like, oh, hey, isn't this a weird coincidence that this happens? And then how many days later, there's a shooting at the situation? Let's see. Not playing the whole 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes, but here we go.
On August 17th, about 4 months ago, I sent Prime Minister Albanese of Australia a letter in which I gave him warning that the Australian government's policy was promoting and encouraging anti-Semitism in Australia. I wrote, your call for a Palestinian state pours fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. It rewards Hamas terrorism. It emboldens those who menace Australian Jews and encourages the Jew hatred now stalking your streets. Anti-Semitism is a cancer. It spreads when leaders stay silent. It retreats when leaders act. I call upon you to replace weakness with action, appeasement with resolve. Instead, Prime Minister, you replaced weakness with weakness and appeasement with more appeasement. Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia. You did nothing to curb the cancer cells that were growing inside your country. You took no action. You let the disease spread. And the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today. We saw an action of a brave man, turns out a Muslim brave man, and I salute him, that stopped one of these terrorists from killing innocent Jews. But it requires the action of your
That's
government.
good enough. What do you think, guys? Was that a good enough warning? Apparently not, right? I mean, this type of thing happens over and over, and we see this over and over. But so I don't know, Mac or Lisa, if anybody wants to add anything more to Australia or the Israel connection.
Well, it was like some form of Jewish celebration on the day that the shootings took place, if I remember rightly.
Oh,
you know,
it was
in Australia.
Was it Hanukkah yesterday, or was it, what was it yesterday? I know it was something.
I don't know, but I know that Australia is at least like 14 hours ahead of, let's say, the UK. Kills me when I'm dealing with Australia because of the time zone difference. It's wild, I can't count 14 hours ahead. I don't know what time it is, but it's very much ahead of time.
Yep.
And then Australia is interesting because it does have a number of communities that have been living there for a very long time and are very well established. So often when you get in a taxi, it will be, it'll perhaps be an Iranian driver. The Iranians have been in Australia or at least Sydney, for a very long time. And there are lots of cultures that have been over there for a very long time. But Anthony Albanese, the guy that's running the country, if you remember, he wanted to meet with Trump for quite some time, and even at the UN meeting as well. And Trump didn't meet with him. He did meet with him later, and they seemed very cordial and all of that. But I do wonder about that particular gentleman. I haven't met an Australian yet that supports Anthony Albanese. Not one.
And just really quickly too, because I'm not sure, and maybe there's some clarity, or maybe Mac or Lisa can add. Isaiah 53 dropped a $1 Rumble rant, said this genocide was promised to us 3,000 years ago. Not sure on that one. Mac, Lisa, any clarity on that one? I don't know if they mean the Muslims or Jews or what that was, but you don't have to put another Rumble rant. You can just leave a comment if you want to clarify that one. And Captain Cutlery says Alba Sleazy is a globalist shill, a total arsehole. Yes, absolutely. All right, so okay. All right, anything else on Australia pew pew situation that we need to cover? I mean, we could show other angles and stuff. Oh, there's another angle, guys. where it looks like this dude is just shooting and two people walk by like as if nothing's going on. So
yeah, I saw that.
yeah, and I don't, I don't really even want to touch on, to be honest with you, Mac, the whole stuff about, what were there people getting makeup applied and stuff like that? Like, I don't even know. I don't know what the case, what the case of that is for sure or not.
48-hour rule.
Do you remember Christchurch in New Zealand?
Oh,
so
yes.
basically, there was the supposed massacre at the mosque, and we got the full, video game view of the guy that was supposed to have shot everybody. But then also, and I've probably still got the pictures and video somewhere, it was like prior to the event, you've got people, and this is not related to Bondi Beach, I'm just looking at this in isolation, but Christchurch, New Zealand, you had the mullahs or whatever that were being paid a lot of money. You had pictures and video of makeup being applied, of people being told to lie on the ground outside and blood being applied to them. And one guy who was supposed to be dead on his phone, you had the guy who's running the mosque like a couple of hours before the shooting running around with blood down his kind of tunic. I can't remember what it's called. Aljamise or something like that. But anyway, there was something wrong with that event, and it was probably in about 2019, 20, something like that, But there was definitely something wrong with it. It was definitely set up, because there's no way that anybody would have been able to produce those pictures and the video that I saw of Christchurch.
And Mac, anything else from you? But I did find that link finally of the people that are shooting, and two old people walk right in front of them like nothing's going on.
Australia has a deep state component, as we know. They're part of Five Eyes. So New Zealand's part of Five Eyes too. So there are still bad components. Australia was terrible during COVID, if everyone remembers. So they have a really bad deep state in their country that they need to get rid of. And I want to also just point out the symbolism of their flag in relation to also the United Kingdom. They both have.
Well, it's basically that we colonized it. We supposedly took all of the criminals and put them on a ship over to Australia and populated Australia. Yes, and took it over. I actually know somebody that their family through generations were like the governors of New South Wales. But talking about Australia, I just want to bring this up. So there is a Freemasonry group. There has been a lot of, never mind just the Aborigines, but also, there's a lot of situations where children have been abused and by people in power, and there has been a massive cover-up for that. And I haven't posted in a while, but I did post a video. There's one gentleman, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, but he did the whistleblowing on the fact that like Australia, the equivalent of Australian radio, or television, they interviewed a couple of paedophiles, and it was disgusting. Let me tell you, it was disgusting. And they were just treating them as if, or the subject matter, just as if it was absolutely normal, So they were having an intelligent conversation about paedophilia whilst these guys were getting their rocks off, talking about how they feel when they abuse children. And it was disgusting. And then they lied and said that they didn't have the footage anymore when they actually did. And there's all kinds of cover-ups in Australia. And Matt, you're right. When COVID hit, there was something about, like instead of using the police, they basically brought in like a private company to do the policing. and they were dragging people out of their houses and all kinds of different things. It was horrible for the Australians, absolutely
Really
horrible.
bad. Yeah,
But they
really
do
bad.
have this overlap between the deep state, people in authority, and especially the legal system. And then when you look into it, you find out that a lot of them have judges, head of police, all of that. They all went to the same school, and the same like Pi Kappa Alpha and all of that kind of thing. There's a lot of that going on in Australia, a lot.
Like secret societies. CIA is a secret society, essentially. So, I would not trust a lot of the secret societies, if not all of them.
Yeah.
And then they were involved in the Russia hoax as well. They were used to circumvent the American legal system, so that Trump's administration could be spied on. Yes, and they could get the information. So Britain signed the visa application, and Australia were involved in routing the information. Yes.
Yeah.
And can anybody, unless this is a completely spoofed video, but it for people that can't see the thing at the top, let me take it off here. Trim, here we go. Boom. See at the very top, it says Sky News. So Sky News at least verified this, or at least put it out, and I can't make I can't make any sense of what's going on here. So allegedly, this guy is pointing. They do have scopes on these things, and he looks to be shooting to the left of this mountain thing. Now watch these two guys come from the right. At that point, wouldn't you stop like he did and start running behind that thing or run away? No, not this guy. He says, keep walking towards where you're allegedly aiming. Stop right where you're aiming and then point to you.
Point at him.
Yeah, but not really point exactly to you, but like kind of near you. And like I mentioned before, the other video that was on the bridge, the dude literally looks to somebody that's near him, waves them away like get out of here, and then like for like a millisecond picked up the gun like he was about to aim it towards them and then waved his hand off again. So I'm like, wait, are you just arbitrarily killing people? Or because it doesn't make any sense. And a lot of times with these things, the more questions equals fake and gay, in my opinion. But so you got that, and this is interesting, guys. You got two guys shooting people that don't know they're being shot at on a beach. But what did they say? These are Remington 870s or something like that. I was hearing. I don't know if that's correct, but they're long scopes, long rifles with scopes. Two guys shooting for over 10 minutes. And how many people were killed? I think it was 15 people killed and another 20 victims that are been shot or something like that. So 30, you managed to shoot 35 people in 10 minutes with two people with rifles with scopes on them. I mean, not saying I hope more people, had gotten killed and hurt if anybody actually did, but that seems a little low, doesn't it? For two people going on a rampage for 10 minutes with two rifles, at least two rifles? I don't know, it doesn't add up. So again, more of the 48-hour rule. I think we're at, what are we at, 24 hours on this one? This was, we're in that wheelhouse. So,
well, remember quite a lot of people, and I'm not using this as an excuse, but Australia is very much a drinking country. Yes, their beer is a lot weaker than, like, say, the beer in the UK. And by the way, I don't drink, but I do know this for sure. And a lot of people like to drink in Australia. They like a good drink,
and it's weaker there.
Yes, it is.
Wow,
it is. So they can just throw it down their necks. Yeah, it's much weaker, much weaker. And when Australians come to the UK, they're in shock because the beer is much stronger, and they're not used to it. And then there's the what they call the English disease. So they come over. Most Australians take a year out, and they'll probably come over to England, because we have this connection family-wise. Australians are a lot of Irish and Welsh, English, family, and stuff like that. And they come over and they discover fish and chips. And in Australia, people are very active. You know, beautiful food, by the way. Just beautiful food. Everything's very clean. They're very strict on you cannot bring anything organic into their country. Even if you've got it on your shoes, they will take your shoes from you. They try their best to make sure that their food is unadulterated, which is great. And it's phenomenal, is all I can say to you. You know, the fish that we have over in England, they call them babies. They throw them back. You have deep ocean fish, which means every fish that you eat is huge, absolutely huge. And if you ever get over there, check out a fish called barramundi. It is amazing, amazing. And it's not farmed, by the way. And if you go in a supermarket, you'll get like 12 different types of tomatoes. You walk down the street, you can pick olives off the tree, blueberries, go to a corner shop, get a fresh fruit smoothie that is only fresh fruit.
Yummy. That sounds yummy.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, let's pull a little video here. Blocking the screen till we get the video up here. President Trump was asked, in my opinion, and thank you again, Isaiah 53 dropped another $2 Rumble rant and makes a very valid point, which is pretty funny, is we deserve better psyops, right? And there's so friggin' many. Yeah, Isaiah 50, I think that's what she said. Barramundi, that was the fish, Lisa.
Yeah, barramundi. Yeah,
barramundi. I've never heard of that one. Yeah, not in our supermarkets. Yeah, I'm not a big fish guy. I can only eat like cod and haddock, but it has to have like Ritz cracker stuffing on it, or else nope, I won't eat it. So okay, let's see. President Trump here. Very interesting question. Hopefully, it's loud enough on the chat here. I'm interested. I'm very interested that they asked him this particular question.
Mr. President,
Katie?
Is it true that the reports that you rebuked the Israeli Prime Minister,
Yes.
Are the reports that you rebuked the Israeli Prime Minister for the hit on the Hamas general true? And is Israel undermining your efforts to be a peacemaker?
No, Israel and I have gotten along very well. My relationship with Bibi Netanyahu has been obviously a very good one. Look, we took out Iran. We wiped out, with that plane right there, we wiped out the B-2 bomber. We wiped out the Iran nuclear threat. And because of that, we were able to make peace in the Middle East. No, we've had a very good relationship with Israel. We actually have a very good relationship with just about everybody in the Middle East.
Violation of the ceasefire, the strike on the Hamas general?
We're going to have to see. We're looking into that.
So, you know, of course they're going to try to put a turd in the punch bowl, right? Can't have the peace going on over there when we know what the ultimate goal is. They don't want they want Gaza to be a parking lot, essentially, right? They don't want any Palestinians over there, period. That's the case there. But I did find it interesting. Even the media is asking President Trump about pushback from Israel. I thought that was pretty interesting. Mac, anything you want to add to that little case here? That little ditty?
I think I'm pretty good on that. But yeah, we'll see what happens on you know, whether they broke anything. But he had some other good quotes in the interview today. I don't know if you were going to cover them, but
yeah, we got a few. To sure. Lisa, anything else you want to add to that one? And then we may be talking about some dead folks now.
No, let's go.
Okay, so let's just pull this one up here. So, you know, and people are basically getting down on President Trump. Yeah, did he post the best comment about this? I don't think so. But also, let's pop it up on the browser. Oh, other window. Here we go. Oh, geez, Mike. We're at 150%. All right, so President Trump here has posted out. This is this morning. Very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. Okay, so, and everybody's saying, it's a president. He shouldn't be making comments like that at somebody's death. And, there's a difference between the everyday person who mocked and celebrities who mocked and laughed and were happy that Charlie Kirk got murdered. But President Trump shouldn't say mean things about people who have been all over his ass for the last 10 years at least.
Hey, Space Shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put up the graphic I just posted in the chat.
Pull the graphic up, eh?
This is Rob Reiner's opinion of Donald J. Trump over the years.
Yeah, he was.
So this is one example. There's a couple other things I want to bring up. So let's go ahead.
He was a very big supporter of Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
And democratic policies. So he was definitely against President Trump. This is the guy that made Spinal Tap and Spinal Tap 2. That's what he was most famous for. And I think he acted in Spinal Tap as well, which is the spoof mockumentary about a rock band. I think I did find the first Spinal Tap funny. I haven't seen Spinal Tap 2. And it turns out that, like, say, his son is probably a spoiled brat, is all I can say. He's a addict, drugs, since he was 50. He went into rehab when he was 15 years old. And the son is the one who has been arrested. He was on camera arguing a very explosive argument with the father, so Rob Reiner. I think his name is it Nick? Maybe Nick is his name.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, and he's the one that's been arrested. I think they gave him bail at first, and now they've taken away his bail. But he's since he was 15 years old, and they've just not known what to do with him. They sent him to therapists and rehab and all of that kind of thing, and nothing was working.
All right.
Go ahead.
So there's some very interesting things, like Nick Reiner. There's a video I just posted in the bottom of the chat. Is Al Franken making a very bad, pedophilic joke about his son and Rob Reiner? Well, there's a picture of Rob Reiner kissing his dad on the lips, which is kind of rather strange at a very old age.
This one right here, right?
Yeah, and you wonder what the drug usage was for. And if you want to play this is just incredible.
Yeah, and so, and this is, at some sort of an event or whatever, and, they're roasting each other. But, in my opinion, the roast content isn't the funniest of stuff. So let's listen here, if this is what I remember it to be.
See, as a baby, Rob was routinely beaten by his father, Carl. On a typical night, Carl would slip into Rob's bed, roll him over, swab him down, and say something like, "I'm thinking about hiring Maury Amsterdam to play Buddy Sorrell. What do you think?" Well, the success of the Dick Van Dyke Show changed things dramatically. Carl started inviting many of his famous friends to son. See, as a baby, Rob was...
So, what was that at the end? Right, what do you say? Let me see this. Here we go.
Started inviting many of his famous...
Wait, here we go. He started... So, Rob's father...
started inviting many of his famous friends to son.
And kind of going back to that point where a lot of this stuff wasn't widely known in public. Maybe it was like ha 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 ha, but in reality, yeah, probably a lot of that stuff maybe did happen. As this person mentioned the Menendez brothers as well.
And the grooming that goes along generationally, and then you also have the Freemasonry stuff that's been rumored to happen as well, which is involves rituals.
Rob Reiner's dad was also a comedian. Apparently, he was a comedian, and it's interesting that the son has had serious problems from being very young, and he's left home and been homeless in multiple states. I don't mean states as in, I mean states as in places, locations, but interesting. And to slash the throat, it does seem, like the Menendez brothers. What did they do? They probably like murdered their parents for their reasons, and again it was because they said, and by the way, there were allegations of their father abusing other artists as well, because he worked for a record company. He was a record company executive, and there were lots of allegations about him and boys.
I wouldn't doubt it. And Mac, you brought up the the grooming and stuff like that, and I brought up, I have a better example. I had a video of this because I know he did it numerous times here, but this is my guy from my area, Tom Brady, right? Yeah, the kid's little there, but he's kissing the kid on the lips. But even when the kid was like 10 years old, he would do it to embarrass him, right? Kind of on videos and stuff. And then you have here where Will Smith was doing the same with Jaden? I was gonna say Jada, but same thing, kisses him on the lips and stuff like that, like this, So it's like, what's going on? And then the kids grow up all weird and being weirdos and stuff like that. Kissing your kid on the lip. As a father, I haven't kissed my son on the lips since he was 2 years old, maybe 3 years old. I don't know. It's just not appropriate. You know what I mean? Even then, it's not an appropriate thing in my opinion.
Cringy.
Yeah, it's very, very cringy.
So I posted something else. So here's another reason why President Trump hates Rob Reiner. He served on an advisory board for a committee to investigate Russia Gate. So it was called investigaterussia.org. This nonprofit initiative launched in 2017, raised public awareness about Russian interference in U.S. democracy, particularly around the 2016 presidential election. So you can read the rest.
What a coincidence. Yeah, he did not directly, while Rob Reiner did not directly engage with federal agencies in an official capacity, he was an asset. Oh, excuse me. I'm just letting my mind come onto my lips here. In capacity, the advisory board included high-level former U.S. intelligence and government officials such as James Clapper, Michael Hayden, Michael Morrell, Leon Panetta, Evelyn Farkas. So all of these guys were the former CIA directors, except for Farkas, who was the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. And I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, that he was, he didn't directly engage with them, but he was an asset. I highly believe he probably was, right? We know all about the church committees and stuff like that. And wasn't he the son on like Archie Bunker or something like that? I believe he was like the son on that.
Probably. He's in a bunch of stuff, I think, back in the day. Now there's even more information. We go James Clapper. He's 1 degree separated from John Brennan in this situation. So we know that Rob Reiner is probably a CIA asset. He also had dealings with Epstein. Which,
coincidence.
Yeah. And who else just admitted to being a CIA asset recently?
You burned.
Patrick Byrne. Yeah.
Told you.
And who did he work for in the CIA? John Brennan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he said he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he was at the tippy top of the degrees of people to go to. He was Obama's first man. What's that, Lisa?
Mike, let's be clear. Patrick Byrne himself said that he had lied about who he is and what he did. And he basically said that he worked for the CIA, which was something that he denied. But Mike, why don't you play the just that little part of the so that people can hear it for themselves? And this is Patrick Byrne, and we know the people that he is close to and associates with. And my thing is, well, how is it that they didn't know? Because I knew that who Patrick Byrne was and what he did. You probably have to go a little bit further ahead. No, not back, further ahead to get the part where he says, where
he says in the beginning here. He says it in the beginning. He actually says it. She leads him into it.
Okay.
Yeah, so she leads it into him. But also, I want to kind of bring it back to your guys' memory. Remember the story that he was telling, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, about how the FBI contacted him and he got some special access.
Hillary?
Yeah, well, no, but he was supposed to get close with Maria Butina, and then that as well, right? So another situation where he was supposed to bribe Hillary Clinton.
He did bribe Hillary, and then he brought the information back, and then they told him to forget about everything. And
Obama, that's what he told us.
Yeah, that's what he told us exactly. Yeah. Now, essentially, Patrick Byrne's a liar. I mean, and he's a CIA asset. Also, he flew in the Proud Boys and other right-wing organization into January 6th. He is a very key point in all this. So,
telling the truth now, but now he's telling. So, and I'm saying
they know they're getting into the good stuff where he's all involved. He's got to clear himself. He's getting ahead of the story. This is where we're getting into the good stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, one little nugget of information. I absolutely remember when Patrick Byrne first gave the interview in 2020. He gave an interview, and it was definitely in Trump Tower, because Trump Tower has these curtains that are definitely Trump Tower. And what I do remember is that Sidney Powell also gave an interview at a similar time, and it was in exactly the same room. So what that means, I'm not sure, but he gave that interview regarding Hillary Clinton from the same room that Sidney Powell gave an interview, and almost at the same time. And remember, people go into Trump Tower and they rent a room and they can do what they like. Some people have offices there, some people have meetings there. It's a functional place. It's not just a hotel where people stay over. You can hire space to use. But anyway, look it up, and you will see the same curtains, the same kind of creases in the curtains or the folds in the curtains. It's exactly the same room, and I don't know how that happens. Yes.
Well, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the weird backgrounds we were getting on, like people like Tom Hanks and his wife during COVID while they were supposedly out vacationing or whatever. But it looks very much like a jail cell behind them. So, all right, let's just play this. It's about, 30 seconds of it I put into my video the other day. 17-minute video, by the way.
Your role with the CIA, which you haven't revealed before.
Well, again, I was telling the truth when I said they frequently was reminded that you have a really non-standard relationship. You have that. It became kind of my mother relationship. I had lots of relationships across the government, but eventually I went from there to, by 2010, 2011, Obama, I became something called a tier 1 intelligence asset. And then in 2010, 2011, Obama elevated me to national intelligence asset. I was told I was going to be the ace in the hole for all kinds of, for the real tough situations from 2010, that was after working for Brennan for 4 or 5 years. And then I continued doing all that stuff through 2016. And all this crazy stuff happened that I've told you about, where we set up the Russian hoax. That's why, I've talked around it because I was trying to hide that, but I've told these stories about how I got drawn into setting up the Russian hoax and the Hillary this and that. There was a little bit of fibbing there. I didn't want to explain the whole truth. I was doing that. I didn't just stumble into it. I was their go-to asset. I was the national intelligence asset. First, I got pulled under Brennan in 2006, and then 2011, I got moved into the White House. That's why I got mixed up in the Russian collusion and the Hillary stuff.
Hey, he just said, if you rewind it, we set up the Russia hoax. He just admits to it.
Oh yeah, he did. He absolutely did. He said.
So he knows a lot.
Well, yeah, he's basically saying that they did that and they tasked him to do this, but then I don't know. He says this happened in 2016, 17, but then you wait, 8 years later to now say I got to tell the truth. So here's where it lies for me. I've told you guys, I have Juan on from time to time. He talks up Patrick all the time, and I've told you guys from day one I don't trust this guy. I just don't trust him. So he maybe proved me wrong. That's great if the stuff comes out, but you kind of look at this in two different areas. One could be he's a bad guy and he's just flat out lying to us. Or two, he could be, or three, there's many different options, really. He could be a bad guy that was made to do good things or to tell the truth now as part of this movie or whatever. Or the very smallest percentage of all the things, in my opinion, maybe he is a good guy. But I don't know, You guys
the thing is, that there is such a thing as getting ahead of the curve. Yes. So because the deeper detail of the Russia hoax is now coming out and going to, because of Comey, what was happening with Comey and the indictment, it's like, for me, he probably knew, well, he's known all this time that the information would come out. And there is potential that he's been, like he said, he was fibbing. He wasn't telling the whole truth, And it seems like he has tried to frame or position himself in a certain way. And then as time's gone on with the Russia hoax and with Brennan and Comey and, the 51 agents and all of that, and we're digging deeper into the Russia hoax, he knows that information will come out because he's obviously connected, right? So for me, it's as if he's getting ahead of the curve, but he's been forced to try and get ahead of the curve, because you're not telling me that the fact that this guy has worked with the CIA and elevated to Obama's best asset and the go-to guy, you're not telling me that the people around him that also dealt with the CIA didn't know. Yes, so for me, like, tell me how the people that he's with all of the time did not know. Tell me how they did not know. He's been doing it for years. These are the people that advise the CIA. They're best friends with Comey and have said it and things like that. So now I think that what's happening is trying to get ahead of the curve and trying to kind of excuse what one has done. That's to me, that's how it comes across. Sorry if I step on anybody's toes, but that's how it comes across to me. Information is going to come out, or that certain people have got information that they may not have had before. There's different people running the FBI now. There's different people running the CIA now. They can get access to information. He knows that they've got it. So he has to speak up, yes, to try 100%. And save himself, I think. Yes? I'm not saying he's good or bad. I'm not even interested in that. I'm just saying fact, really. you know, and how people deal with the media and the fact that, you know, all this time since 2016, 2017, he's been pushing himself as somebody that supports Trump and this and that. You know, remember the visit to the White House where they got a staffer to get them in because Trump wasn't letting them in. Sidney Powell had been, distanced from the White House and all of that kind of thing. It just seems like he's trying his best to get ahead of the curve. That's all I'm going to say. Agree with me, disagree with me, but I'm telling you, it's like it just feels obvious. We've been played, people. We've been played royally.
We shall
Well,
see,
I've got some extra new information that came out having to do with Nick Fuentes and January 6th.
Nick Fuentes.
Remember, did you see that recently Elon called him a Fed?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he did get interviewed by the law enforcement, and I put it in the chat, some screenshots. Now, he pled the fifth on all questions. But the line of questioning is very interesting because they mention America First Foundation. They mention Stop the Steal organization, you know, how he makes his income, who pays him. And there's a whole line of questioning having to do with this. And as you may or may not know, he was at January 6th with a megaphone yelling at people. And so he's a key component. So this is another potential asset here that we are getting exposed the truth. So this will all connect into January 6th and what is, I think, we're investigating right now. At least has been talking about. We're finding more about, you know, Patrick Burns and all these other characters. I find this very interesting because we have been waiting to find out who was behind all this.
Oh, 100%. Well, dude, is there any reason why this clown who comes out and just babbles whatever he likes has 1 million followers on X? And then let me go over to Nick Fuentes. And from what I understand, I think he just started up on Rumble pretty recently.
And does anybody remember, you know, we've got to understand how people play the media and play people. And, you know, Nick Fuentes, if you remember, you know, Kanye West organized a dinner with President Trump and brought along Nick Fuentes without anybody knowing. So then he could say that he could say that he had dinner with President Trump and make it look like he's kind of all chummy with President Trump, you know? I think they did it at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of used in the press to bash President Trump. I'm just saying, you know, like if you step back a little bit and take your nose away from the window, you can kind of see the play that people make and that they are making. And Patrick Byrne is a good example. But Nick Fuentes, it's like, you know, is he? You know, how does he make his money? Is he a paid informant? Is he an asset? Because we know that the FBI had loads of assets there on January the 6th. And these aren't people that they hire for the day, by the way. Like Patrick Byrne, these are people that they pay. And somewhere you'll be able to find out how much money they spend. It's millions. It's absolute millions. Who was the other guy?
This guy right here, no?
That was an asset.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Look at his eye.
I meant to bring this out in like the last 3 videos and I keep forgetting, but this is Milo. Wasn't he the guy that was also the person that brought in Nick Fuentes with Kanye? I think he was there too, right?
Wasn't Milo the one who was running the Marjorie Taylor Greene's campaign?
Yeah,
there was.
Yes?
Well, he was working for free for
Yes.
Dude, did you guys ever see did we play it on this show or was it Hulk played it on our show on Saturday where there's a video he uploaded of a full video of his interaction with Laura Loomer, and the best I can describe it is she's like a sleazy drunk man hitting on like a high school girl, and it's vice versa. Like she's this drunk hitting on him while he's blonde, and she apparently thought he was straight. Oh, you have that beautiful Aryan jaw structure, and people hate me because I'm Ashkenazi and I'm smart, and I got a nice set of whatevers. And I'm like, have you guys seen that video? That is so beyond cringy. It is the worst thing I've ever seen. But this dude, I was watching this thing with Milo and Tucker the other day, and I'm like, is it me or is this dude? Like, is his eyes screwed up? And then it did it again, and then it did it again. I'm like, you know what? Let me just pause it, and I paused it, and there it is. One eye's looking straight ahead, and the other eye's looking off to the left. Excuse me. Yeah, one eye's looking to the right, and the other eye's looking off straight. And this happened numerous times, and I'm like, is this dude like effed up on something? And odds are, he might be.
The thing is, I was looking at his teeth, and he's got that grinding look.
The coke grind look.
Well, he's got false teeth, whatever they are, implants or whatever. But yeah,
veneers.
He probably got them all replaced.
And then,
I'm sure.
Larry Loomer saying that she thought he was straight. It's like, no, everybody knows that Milo was not straight for years, And Milo used to be like a journalist on Breitbart for a long time. And Milo was the ultimate gay man, yes, who was out of the closet and didn't care. And then more recently, he said he's gone straight.
Oh, didn't you mention?
So it was all an act,
and that's him too. It doesn't even look. I mean, it looks so off. I mean, he's had many different looks over the years. With the
he's an actor. Everything's just fake with him.
He's English.
So you remember how the owner of Breitbart ended up? So we had that guy. You got Milo. You got James O'Keefe. Who else you got? There's a couple others that are still. I think John Solomon worked for there, and then a couple other big names that are still around.
Steve Bannon.
Oh yeah, Steve Bannon.
Oh dude. Oh guys, you know what? Thank you for bringing that up. I don't think hardly anybody saw this, but I put a little funny together. But you have to even see that it's more than an image to let it play for a few seconds. Here we go. It's 20 seconds.
And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is
a little part of Cappy there. I thought it was funny, but yeah, apparently he was going to him for money, and apparently a lot of people were.
It wasn't just going to him for money. He was hired by Epstein to rehabilitate Epstein's image and also to coach him. So he spent many hours with Epstein, coaching him on how to do interviews and things like that. So, no, there was a long relationship, and they probably got hours and hours of tapes of their interaction, because that's what was happening. So,
tell me what that was? This like somebody laying on a bed because they blocked off somebody's face.
It's a young girl who's
a victim.
And it's right on his desk. Hey, beautiful.
And if you imagine, Epstein had probably pictures around that all over the place. Yes.
Scumbag, absolute scum of the earth. Yeah.
And Bannon has unreleased at least 17 hours of interview with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, why hasn't he released it yet? It's just it's a strange world. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on here.
I'm gonna have to give Mac the hat tip, I believe, on these ones here. And geez, I get so many more links to go through and little time. Let's see. Let's go with this one first, I guess. Mac had dropped this, and so we had what's his name there, Rob Reiner, and yes, I went back and looked, and it was Archie Bunker. Was it All in the Family or whatever? He was the the son, the older son, that was, I think, in his early 30s, late 20s. Who knows? He was probably 17, but looked like he was 40 back then.
Did somebody else die who was on All in the Family just recently?
Probably most of them, because it's such an older show. I wouldn't doubt just from
Literally in the last week or so. I think it was a lady who was on All in the Family. She died too.
I'll see. Well, this guy, so Mac had dropped this one. This guy on the right here, I don't want to get a friggin' copyright strike for The Mask, but Haunting Words, very interesting. So kind of going back here, and no, don't want to play this. This dude right here, Peter Green, is this actor. I'm sure you guys have seen. He always plays like a bad guy type of thing. Haunting Words, mystery note found near body of the Mask star. I wouldn't call him the Mask star, but anyways, Peter Green in bloodied apartment as manager reveals their last call. Yeah, that was Jim Carrey and the blonde chick there that went to high school with Snoop Dogg. Cameron Diaz, they were the stars. He was a bad guy that played the bad guy, and that was it. He wasn't a star. But Hollywood star 60 was reportedly found face down on the floor of his New York City apartment after music was heard playing for 24 hours prior. This guy. I know you guys have seen this guy in multiple movies over the years. Always plays the bad guy, like always. You're like, hey, we need a bad guy for this movie. Hey, go call Peter Green. Yeah. So where was the note? A nonstop noise caused neighbors to raise the alarm, calling cops in to do a welfare check. A strange note was found next to his body, according to investigators, referencing an Irish-American gang that operated out of Hell's Kitchen in the 1970s, and the note read, quote, I'm still a Westie. Huh. So very interesting. I don't know. I mean, one wonders, is it something that he wrote as he was dying? They didn't really say if it's his handwriting, somebody else's handwriting. And again, this is, still too new, I believe. This was this yesterday or today? This is as of...
Oh, it was today.
Yeah, it was today. I was going to say it was either yesterday or today. So again, 28-hour, 48-hour rule. We'll see who the handwriting was. Is it still him writing on the way out? I'm still a Westie. Hey, I was still part of you guys back then. I'm still part of you now. Or was it somebody maybe he dealt with back in the day who was there when he died or killed him and left a note? I don't know. But that's not all, right, Mac? This guy, he was 78. So Anthony Geary, General Hospital, one of my mother's shows she used to like to watch because she was a nurse. She watched All My Children and General Hospital were the one that she liked to watch. And I remember this dude. He played Luke Spencer, right? He was 78, Anthony Geary. People dropping like flies, but I don't know. December 15th. It was a shock for me and our family and our friends. For more than 30 years, Tony's been my friend, my companion, and my husband. And I'm not... Okay, this is... is this all right? I'm just getting rid of this page. So anyways, another dead guy. So we got people dying left and right, and you had one more too, Mac, right? But I kind of looked at that one quick, and it was the girl from CSI.
Young age.
Yeah, she was young, but she had some sort of some sort of a cancerous thing or something like that. And actually, this was the next one I was going to bring up as it happened. So perfect. So yeah, I don't know. It felt like a weird energy too yesterday. I don't know if it was like a precursor of things to come this week, but there certainly are a lot of things happening. And like Mac mentioned, these people.
Well, guess what Friday is?
Friday.
It's the deadline for the Epstein stuff.
Oh, has everything not been released yet? Because I know they got the okay.
This was from the grand jury stuff from back in here. I'll just send you a post. I did.
Okay, this is interesting, and I know why you dropped it. I'm just going to read this one. So, anybody put in the chat why we found this particular article intriguing? New memos show how corruption probe into the Clinton Foundation was killed. We were told no by the FBI headquarters. Drip, drip, drip. A newly classified timeline exposes how the FBI's investigation into the Clinton Foundation was hamstrung by the DOJ leaders while the inquiry into Trump-Russia hoax marched forward. This isn't the first tranche of evidence pointing into political interference. And it says top Republican senators provided Just the News a timeline written by FBI investigators laying out the repeated political obstruction those agents faced from their own bosses and the Justice Department during the 2016 election and beyond, as they probed whether Hillary Clinton engaged in a pay-to-play corruption scheme involving her family foundation. Quote, Field agents were frustrated. Get out of there. But headquarters would not let it go forward. The newly released and lengthy investigative timeline reveals, quote, "We were trying to explore the Clinton Foundation, and we were told no by FBI headquarters." So Chuck Grassley made the records produced to him by Kash Patel and Pam Bondi available to Just the News this weekend. Grassley's office said the senator's request for those records was prompted by whistleblowers who first brought the issue to his attention. Who's that? Lisa or Mac? I can hear about ready to say something.
Yeah, well, isn't that interesting? Because remember those two investigators that they had to take the IRS to court.
Oh, the Clinton Foundation
make
whistleblowers.
The IRS admit that they did do an investigation into the Clinton Foundation, but somehow they lied that they lied and said that they didn't do it, and they didn't publish the information. So they had to go to court to get the court to tell the IRS to admit that they had done an investigation into the Clinton Foundation and their accounts. And I'm just thinking, is that around the same time? I think so. Is there a conspiracy? More than one, entity working on that? And, why does this woman have so many people that have committed suicide around her?
Yeah, the Clinton body count, the Clinton death count. And this is the first time we heard the word Durham.
And they're supposed to testify this in December or face contempt charges. So I don't know when I think it's the 17th and the 18th they're supposed to testify, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. They might prefer to get the contempt charges.
That's the thing, right? It's like, if they don't show up, what are they going to do? Are they going to throw them in jail underneath Congress or something like that?
Well, that kind of is an admission of guilt, is it not?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That's just investigation forward, and pile on the information of the public, because they got to go in there and save their own asses. If not, this is going to develop into something, probably the biggest crime, ever.
Well, they're kind of in a catch-22 right now, right? I mean, when Bill Clinton sits down, maybe not so much Hillary, but Bill is in a catch-22 because he can't be prosecuted for anything, right? So only thing he can be prosecuted is if he happens to lie and perjure himself, right? So that's why the framers put, pardonable offenses or whatever, and presidents basically can't pardon for perjury, I think it was, right?
But after his presidency, and he's still doing that, doesn't he still? He doesn't get that type of privilege, though, correct?
Well, I think he gets. So basically, he can't say. Well, I don't know. Things that happened after he was president, right? Like after he's out of office, I think he could be held liable for it because he's not president at that time. But things while he was president, he can't. He can basically skate on, essentially, but he can't lie.
But there is a caveat on that. It has to be part of his job of being the president. It doesn't cover him personally. Yes? So if a president commits a crime, they commit a crime and they can be charged. But if what we think is a crime and that was just part of being president, so running the Clinton Foundation, that's got nothing to do with being the president of the United States. Yes, constitutionally and all of that, it's not part of it. That's personal. So he can be charged. And the way that they've treated President Trump and all of the trolling that we've gone through regarding, the hearing about, what the president can and can't do, what he can and can't be charged for and things like that. We've got it all. We've got it all now. So I believe that he can be charged for the Clinton Foundation because that is personal. They
set the parameters already.
Yeah, absolutely. They help set the parameters by what they,
correct.
By the kind of threads that they were pushing, and the Supreme Court have completely laid it out. Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, Yeah, they let it out. It's all there. All
Now,
there.
Space, I did a post. Go to the bottom of the chat, read that, show the graphic. And think about the timing of Friday and the release of the Epstein stuff and the Clintons as well.
Ooh. Little action here. Let's see what we got. This Friday, December 19th, 2025, is the federal deadline for the U.S. Department of Justice to release all government files related to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This follows bipartisan legislation signed by President Trump in November. The release is expected to include unclassified investigative records from Epstein and the Maxwell cases, flight logs and travel records, including trips to Epstein's private island, seized digital evidence such as hard drives, CDs, including one labeled, quote, Girl Pics Nude Book 4, and recordings, names of individuals and corporate entities linked to Epstein's criminal activities. However, the government may withhold or redact information that identifies survivors or victims, involves national security, or depicts child abuse. Could jeopardize ongoing investigations, including a new probe into Epstein's ties to high-profile figures like Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, and J.P. Morgan Chase. After the release, the DOJ must publicly disclose a summary of redactions and a list of all government officials and politically exposed persons mentioned in the documents within 15 days. The files could be released at any time before the Friday deadline, either all at once or in batches. Oh, juicy, dude. So, okay, hold on. 15 days after the 19th is what?
Isn't Richard Branson's name missing from there?
Was it Richard Branson?
Richard Branson's name is missing from
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So, like, he was in all of the photographs, but what I noticed was the fake news media didn't even mention that he was in the photographs. You know? Talk about a cover-up. It's like Richard Branson. No, what about Richard Branson? Well, we know that he hosted Nexium at Necker Island, his own private island. You know, where is that private island? Is it anywhere near Epstein's island? But there are pictures of Richard Branson with Epstein.
Now, notice in that last little dot there, it said could jeopardize ongoing investigations, and it mentions Bill Clinton. So we'll probably it'll be all redacted for Bill Clinton then, if it's ongoing.
Well, maybe not. But you're right though. The timing of that is interesting. That Hillary's supposed to be there on the 17th for testimony, and then Bill's supposed to be there on the 18th for testimony, and then the next day on Friday, December 19th. So this is going to be what, Wednesday? It looks like. Let me make sure I'm getting the dates. So the 17th will be Wednesday, yes, and then Thursday is Bill Clinton's day. Then Friday is the release. But yeah, I don't think it's coincidental. I really don't. And I don't. I've been saying this from early on, but wasn't it reported earlier on that she was there as many, if not more times than he was at the island? I thought that was the case early on, like 26 times or something like that. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, they were there enough. We can leave it at that. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. And you know, he's keeps repeating the fact that he's going to be bringing, or he says he's going to be dropping lots of information soon. That's going to be not so good for Gavin Newsom. So that's
and then
very interesting.
The big one that I can't wait, and we all can't wait for, is President Trump recently. Do you have the clip of him saying that the evidence is going to come out about the 2020 elections in the next couple months?
Oh yeah, let's see. Had it.
So all these shooting, false flag stuff that just happened, it's probably because of this coming forward. So was it Q Post 47? Yeah, I'll get that to you too. An interesting one.
Yeah, here it is. I got it. I got one of them anyways. Yeah, I got to do better as far as locking these links in. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, great story, but I don't end up putting it into my notes here. So here we go. Ding, ding, ding. But it's always in one of the usual suspect places. Right here. Wait, where did I just drop that? Go. Dropped it in the wrong spot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, ding. President Trump, here we go.
That's all they're good at cheating in elections. Very good at cheating. They're professionals at cheating. because we won in 2016 by a lot. The election was rigged in 2020. We have all the ammunition, all the stuff, and you'll see it come out. It's coming out in truckloads. And California's election, New York also, but California more than any other place is so rigged. It's such a rigged election. You know, we won the Hispanic vote. So a lot of people say Republican wouldn't win California, but I won the Hispanic vote. I won in Miami. Think of that. In Miami, I won the Hispanic vote. Along the Texas border, I won every single city or town touching the Texas border, and they're 85 to 90% Hispanic. We won the Hispanic vote. If the vote in California was legitimate, which it's not, they have 38 million ballots. Everything is mail-in voting. They mail out 38 million ballots, and they come in. Where the hell do they go, and where do they come from? It's a rigged election in California, because we would win California by a lot. And again, they feel they have the advantage with Hispanic. They don't.
Huge. Do you guys remember the, I don't know I think it was the election, the regular election, where basically you could see the back of the piece of mail, and essentially what it made it is so the mailman could see whether the person voted Republican or Democrat, right? So they made it like openly visible and discoverable whether whatever one person was voting. So if you had a rogue mailman or a rogue person back at the mail sorting facility, or if you put somebody in one of those places, wink, wink, right, to make sure a lot of the votes, you know, basically get thrown away or whatever, that's easily done. And they do that all the time in California with a bunch of different things. So you definitely have to keep. I don't know who doesn't monitor that stuff though. Why they allow that? Why they allow them to get away with that, Lisa?
I think California, you know, when you look at it, you can look at QPulse 2854, February the 21st, 2019, and it basically says they know what's best for our country, ? Pelosi, CA rep since 1987. Waters, CA rep since
1991.
1991. Schiff, CA rep since 2001. Feinstein, CA rep since 1992. And then it says Harris, ? Lieu, as in Lieu, ? And it goes on. And then there's, you know, it talks about undocumented immigrants in California versus nation, ? And it's just about California's estimated $2 trillion in debt. You know, homelessness, population on the rise, highest tax rates in the country. And it just goes on. Uncontrollable state government spending. So is this the guy that reckons that he's going to be prime minister? You know? I didn't know it's $2 trillion in debt, but I knew that they were in debt. And it's just, that's incredible given the revenue that they produce. You know, isn't this the place where you've got Palo Alto and all of the technology companies that are doing really well and stuff? It's like, wow, $2 trillion in debt. And I know that they can't afford to support their green projects. They just don't have any money. But yet they somehow find money to support illegal migrants.
Oh, great points, Lisa. And you're going to love this one. So we talk about this from time to time, Hulkinators from California. So California's economy is a global powerhouse, ranking around the 4th or 5th largest in the world. So California's economy, guys, not talking about the United States, 4th or 5th in the world, just behind nations like the whole United States, China, Germany, and Japan, with a GDP exceeding $4 trillion. This makes California richer than over 190 countries, including major economies like the EU and Canada, driven by tech, agriculture, and innovation. Through recent data shows Japan claiming number 4 spot due to currency shifts. Well, isn't that interesting? And let me see if I can find this one. Another thing you had just mentioned, I bet I lost a spot on it. Documented people in California versus I'm gonna have to basically
was it QPost 47?
Yeah, no, I had it. Oh, here it is. I pulled over the wrong one. Well, I wanted both actually, but here we go. I couldn't believe it was this high, Lisa. Lisa says she basically read this part, and this is part of that drop, and I just put it into the Google search. California has the nation's largest population of undocumented immigrants. Okay, I could understand that. Holding roughly a quarter to 40% of the total U.S. unauthorized population, with 2.3 to 2.6 million residents, far more than Texas, Florida, or New York, though percentages within the state's populations are declining as states see growth. That's crazy. I didn't know it was that high.
Insane.
No idea it was even close to that. I would have said, if you asked me, I probably would have said California or Texas, but I probably would have leaned toward Texas.
Well, now think about what the cost of that is.
Yeah. In many different fronts.
Education, benefits, everything, and medical. And how many driver's licenses have been given out?
Right. Yeah, and then you can add in the fraud to it, right? The fraud, the crime, like, yeah, it's not a good situation at all, guys. Let me see. As we're I gotta.
And don't forget about the homelessness and the business they make off of them.
Everywhere.
Steal their identities and social security numbers and get, ways of fake vote and stuff like that.
I got a good one for you here. Perceived Christians versus Muslim slavery. This is again, this is one of those points where I'm like, man, I wish I could get the ear of everybody so we could just straighten out some of these things, but we do the best we can as we go here. So you pull this one up. I thought this was funny. This guy. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to kind of give you the point, which is the beginning.
I would trust with my.
Oh God.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, it's not coming. So he's basically saying, I would trust a Muslim with my life before I would trust any Christian one. Do you want to know why? All the slavery and stuff. And this woman comes on. Let's see if you can hear her.
Muslims didn't put
my ancestors in chains. And this lady's like, are you sure? You sure about that? They didn't take them from Africa and drag them across the Atlantic and bring them to the Americas. Really hate, whatever. He says, really hate to break this to you, but Muslims enslaved more African people than any other religions combined. And she says this, interesting, Lisa, I didn't know if this was true or not, but she says, you have the trans-Saharan slave trade, also known as the Arab slave trade, where they basically enslaved a lot of people, but they also enslaved, what she said, they enslaved the Slavic people. And she's saying that's where the word slave comes from. It's actually Slavic, which I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she says in this. But essentially, the Muslims made more slaves out of people than Christianity by a boatload, right? And they're still doing it to this day, right? In certain parts of Africa, like, don't they literally have slave trading going on right now in certain parts of Africa?
Libya.
Yeah.
That was they brought back slave trade in Libya, and that was due to overthrowing Gaddafi and not putting anything in place for stability, and therefore you got slave trading going on through Libya. But then it's kind of swings and roundabouts because at some point. Muslims invaded and took over certain places, so that's why you get the Arab kind of influx and influence in places like, I don't know, Eritrea, Ethiopia and stuff like that. But you also had, It's kind of like a circular economy, Like one tribe has been running a place, and then another tribe comes in and takes over, And I think I said it last week about how there's not much talk of how the Moors and the Muslims basically ran Spain at one stage, and then they were kind of pushed out. but you can see it by the architecture. You know, there's been a lot of settlement and stuff like that. Imagine the Ottoman Empire as well. You know, how far did they get? The Ottoman Empire was huge, you know, and that was Muslim, you know. But then you could go and look at Genghis Khan, and it's like, how far did he get? The Mongolians, let me tell you know, like, whoa.
Really far.
But you see what I mean? It's like through the ages, different cultures have taken over, you know, and some have been diluted, some have been mixed, and stay mixed today, you know. So there's a lot of Arab influence in parts of Africa, and you know, like if you look at, let's say, you know, somewhere like Eritrea, you know, you can see the Arab influence in the people, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mongolians, yeah, dude. Alexander the Great and the Mongolians, they took a lot of area up for sure.
Yeah. And then, you know, so and then you get the British Empire, you know.
Oh boy. Yeah, you are our enemies. We ran from you, Lisa.
Which we could be fighting right now.
And we probably are, you know?
That's one of the points on the pyramid, as Q said, so.
One part.
Well, I say it almost every week.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm just reiterating.
all year, you know. I'm British. I know the British. And trust me, they'll be involved somewhere in something. Like, there's one thing that I wanted to bring up where it's like, you know, the EU and the Brits, you know, they want to take, I think it's 185 billion that Russia, that has been kind of confiscated as part of the sanctions against Russia. And what they're angling to do is give that 185 billion to themselves. Oh, sorry, I misspoke. To Ukraine. And this money is actually held by a kind of bank that holds money, and it's called Euroclear. So if they do this, if they manage to do this, let me tell you, they are going to upend the whole of the banking system and any trust that anybody has in the banking system in Europe. Do you understand? Like, this money is held in an account, and they want to take that money out of that account and give it to the Ukraine. Is anybody going to trust any European bank after that?
Hell no.
You see what I mean?
I can only see how pissed off people are going to be. Like, oh my God, if they do that.
For me, it is just absolutely masochistic. It's like, please don't do that, you know, or do it and just kind of obliterate yourselves, you know. No one's going to trust you. No one's going to trust the banking system. Not never. Anybody with any money, forget it. Do not put it in a European bank, because that's what they can do, or that's what they'll do. And it goes against everything. It goes against banking and the institutions, the trusted institutions and all of that. But at the same time, it's like, if they do it, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen, but no one's going to ever trust them or any bank.
Shouldn't.
I would just purely.
That's criminal. There's no way they can get away with that. I'm laughing because that's just that would cause a lot of.
That's
chaos.
part of the negotiations when Zelensky went over to London, you know, and that's what
I
they're
get
pushing
it.
for.
I get it, but I just don't see how the people are going to allow that to happen, and legally, if they're going to be able to do that. So
well, they remember that they don't. Yeah, they don't care, Mike. You've got to understand, and they're gonna supposedly, I don't know what they do, but they're looking to sanction it themselves.
Disgusting. I mean, you got certain, I don't even know what state is it. California, it might be California already that, I don't know if they proposed it or they're already starting to do it, but they're starting to tax people, or they're going to start taxing people on their frigging savings account. Like, are you kidding me? So yeah, there's a lot of things that they're doing to highlight. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, you guys do that over there? Wow.
Yeah, listen, this particular government is taxing everything. Yeah. So people have saved up to buy a nice house and all of that. They're bringing in like what they call mansion taxes. So if a house is worth over 2 million, then they're probably going to be paying, I think it's like over 7,500. And you know that it just will not stay there. You know, the BBC, they're looking to, they put together this proposal. They want to raise the license fee for some people, make them pay more, potentially have adverts. And it's just a mess. They do not know what they are doing, but they're taxing everything,
Disgusting.
Really ridiculous. And people will be leaving in droves, in droves. But yet they're giving more benefits to people. And again, we're taking in illegal migrants that is costing billions per year. Billions. I don't know how much it is per month, but it's billions,
Crazy amounts. Yeah, it's too much. And I'm not even going to bother playing this, guys. This is just Chris Murphy from Connecticut. President Trump has been engaged in a dizzying, purposeful campaign to loosen our nation's gun laws and cut mental health funding for kids. Knowing this would increase mass shootings, he's in the pocket of the gun industry, and our kids are the casualty. So here in Rhode Island, they've already changed the guns, and he actually talks about it here. Like, the funny thing is, he wants to make stricter gun laws, but he adds, well, the guns aren't really, the shootings aren't happening from guns from here. They're actually bringing guns in from other states and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, great. So here's my response to that. The sooner you learn that criminals don't care about your laws, the sooner you may fix this issue. Let's take all the legal guns away. See Australia. Then we only have police and criminals with guns, and where a 10-minute rampage has become the norm, right? So criminals and police will have the guns at that point once they get their desired result away. In my opinion, more guns is the answer, right? It's the same reason why, when I was down, doing a lot of traveling for work in down south, there was far less road rage. And the only thing I could put one and one, together to add up to is there's probably less road rage because you're pretty certain that the guy next to you has a friggin' shotgun. You could see it in the back of his window, right? And the odds are most people down there are rolling around with guns, right? So certain areas where people have guns, there's less violence and there's less people to be violent. I've cited Virgin, Utah. It's a town in Utah that had a statute that every household had to have a gun. And yes, you can get exemptions and blah, 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 but the national average of crime is far lower there in every single statistic except, I don't know why, rape. Maybe because if you hold a gun to somebody's head, you can rape them or whatever. But every other statistic is markedly lower and in more gun area. So, yeah, the idea of take the guns away. And when is it ever some dude who went to a gun store, legally bought it, did the right thing, and then all of a sudden went crazy? It's usually like some kid that takes it off their parents or some kid that got it from somewhere else. It never seems to be the legal buying shooter.
Oh, the parents bought, those producers, Hollywood producers, where the son had mental health issues. They knew about it, but yet they still bought him like 10 grand's worth of guns and rifles, and he went and shot up somewhere. I can't remember which one that was, but there's a lot of that goes on.
Absolutely.
Spoiled kids.
Absolutely. Actually, you know what? We're gonna wrap it up after this video here, guys. This is not anything to do with news or anything, but I thought it to be touching little video. It's less than a minute. and they asked the guy who is in, he plays the lawyer. I think he's Mr. Nobody in the movie, and he plays Saul in Better Call Saul. And I thought this was pretty good. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna play this one first, quick, and then I'm not gonna play the whole thing though. But this is funny. Fair use. We're gonna change this thing, whatever. So, Landman. I just thought this one line was pretty great.
What to do?
Well, shit, do whatever you want to. Read a book or watch TV. Watch one of them daytime talk shows.
You know, like The View or something. What's The View?
Bunch of pissed off millionaires bitching about how much they hate millionaires and Trump and men and you and me and
everybody else they got to be up their ass about. It's pretty funny.
Bunch of millionaires complaining about how they hate other millionaires and Trump.
I remember that.
Right,
it's funny because what was the other one? Yellowstone. Every now and again they come out with a line, and people would be going, "Oh my God, they're supporting Trump," and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, it's kind of true. It is true. There's a lot of people that it's just trendy. I think.
Yeah.
It's like, where's your basis? Name something, put some substance to what you're actually saying, and prove that it isn't something that you're just transferring from one political side to another,
Absolutely.
I think in the end, we're going to find out that more people are on the side of Trump and the Patriots, MAGA, than it's actually led to believe, and because of the, and so it's going to be a unifying thing, because the entire time that's all they've been trying to do is divide us, race, gender, whatever. Oh my God, it's just crazy, skin color, and the list just goes on. But this is going to be, once those elections get fixed, we are going to be well on our way to some serious victories. I think we already are, but I mean, it's really going to start confirming everything at that point.
I agree with that. Whether you have people that are afraid on the other side, or whatever parts of a movie certain people are pretending to be at this point, I believe in the end there are far more conservatives out there than, because they have control of the media essentially, right, Lisa?
I know, absolutely. I agree. I agree. And the divide and rule is their favorite pastime, from the Romans. Divide and rule.
Go watch the football game.
Sorry?
Go watch the football game.
Yeah, you make a good point that they control basically the narratives, because we watch TV, so they make us feel like it's cool to do this or that, or you're not socially accepted. It's a big psyop. But it's crazy.
I like this. I like this one right here, guys. We're gonna wrap it up on this one, then say our farewells. And that way, I'm gonna go do what this guy's kind of talking about here. But I thought this was a good little feel good moment. This is Saul Goodman from Better Call Saul. He was the attorney. He's being interviewed by this gentleman here. So fair use. But I thought it was a good message, especially for the time of year.
Who are you jealous of?
Anybody who's still got little kids at home growing up.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no question. I knew what I was doing when I had kids growing up.
Yeah.
I was being a dad. I mean, that was my job. And I didn't have to ask myself, what am I doing here? What am I doing? How can I be a part of this world? How can I be meaningful today? I didn't have to ask that question, because the fucking answer is pick up everything between here and the door. And make sure they get to school and have a laugh with them.
Yeah.
Life I understood my purpose.
Best answer.
And I'm surrounded by these guys who have kids, and I envy them.
Yeah.
I envy them, as stressed as they are.
Yeah.
Because they have to do this job. It takes them away. I guess you know who you are when you leave here. You absolutely know who you are.
Yeah.
You're a dad.
So that's for the parents out there, and I'm on the tail end of that. My little guy's 15, and looking through some pictures the other day, man, it's crazy. They say how time flies, but when you see pictures of them, even just a couple of years ago versus today, you're like, wow, that was only 2 years ago? He was so much littler then, right? And it's just like, it's crazy. So yeah, I can definitely mesh with that one as well there. but it doesn't feel like it, right? When you're running around and picking up toys and kids are screaming and stuff, but that's the good times in my opinion. But if you guys want to comment on that, you can go ahead. But Lisa, the floor is yours for farewells and say thank yous and goodbyes, and any comment is on the table for you.
Yeah, just thanks for listening today. Hope we're doing you justice, and just watch the EU and watch how they operate. And when I say the EU, I include the UK. And how they're trying to control things and meddle with things. And I do. How many of them said there should be a Palestinian state at a particular time? It's not what they said, it's when they said it. Yes? So you know that they're meddling. It's when they said it, the timing, the moment that they said it. They're definitely meddling. And I'm very interested to wait and see Mike, the information that you mentioned that President Trump is going to come out with regarding 2020. I think that's going to be interesting, and couple that with more about the Russia hoax. And Patrick Byrne's little confession there, I think, gives a little inkling of what is to come, because I've got a feeling that there are many more people in a similar position to him, where you've been lied to for a long time, and now they're going to have to own up or fess up, fess up, and they will have no choice. So no longer will they be able to do their little cover up or do their kind of, I'm a conservative, act.
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to that, because as I say, I like the truth, and it's good or bad, however it comes. I want to know what the truth is, and then I'm interested to see how the people around them that obviously have that same knowledge and knew about it, how they're going to try and spin it, because I've noticed a lot of people, like trying to get ahead of the game or ahead of Trump. They know things are coming out, and they're trying to either use it to make themselves look more intelligent or all-knowing, or give themselves credibility, or they're trying to get ahead of the wave. A lot of that going on right now.
Absolutely. And one thing I'll just add for what Lisa says, and I'll hand it over to you, Mac, which is, I've been doing these shows with Mac and Lisa for a long time here now, a few years at least, I believe it is. And, I know them to be honest people as well. So if ever you guys come across information that we provide that happens to be incorrect, just know that we're never, ever going to lie to you. We may get something incorrect over the years. And if you bring that to our attention, you will see that corrected on the very next show. Right. So we will obviously always do our best to bring you guys the truth. And all we want to see, I believe I can speak for Mac and Lisa on this one, is a better country and a better world, right? And everybody's country is better off, and everybody is prospering, and everybody is just left alone and not having to have this psychological warfare essentially running through their households 24/7. So yes, we want to bring you guys the truth, and we can't wait to see how this stuff plays out the rest of it. But the floor is yours, Mr. Mac.
Hey, great show. Felt like we got through a lot of stuff there, though we still have more. Couple things just came out, or I was going to cover that we didn't get to cover. Trump just sued the BBC for $10 billion. That's going to be epic.
That's it? Only $10 billion?
I think that's going to make a mark. And then, what was it? Tina Peters, we had covered it last week, pretty in depth. President Trump decided to pardon her, and it seems like this is going to go to the courts because they're not going to release her. And, this is lawfare in a war. It's crazy. Tina Peters is essentially a prisoner of war because she's holding 2020 election evidence, it sounds like.
100%. Yeah. You should never been in there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot behind that too that's worth looking into. I also came across a clip. I'm not sure how far ago it was, but Peter Navarro had discussed that Trump was lied to about the vaccine. I never heard that, and it was by not just Fauci but by Pfizer. They didn't disclose any of the side effects. They made them think it was like a true vaccine when it wasn't a true vaccine. They actually had to change the definition, if you don't remember, to accommodate that. So that was an interesting tidbit of information I came across.
There is, Mac, with that, potentially, then, you know, as a president, you can't know everything. But you have a lot of staff, and for me, they should have been paying attention, because it came out in court that Pfizer and other companies lied. Yes? It was a big court case, and it came out that they lied about the tests, they lied about a whole heap of things. You know, what do they call it? Not the tests. What do they call it when they test drugs on people? There's a name for it. I can't remember it right now. But there was a huge case where I think it was Pfizer that asked for, you know, it was something silly like for the information to be sealed for like 121 years or something like that. And it was found that they lied. They lied about all the tests. They lied about the efficacy. Remember, this was like 90-odd% efficient. And it wasn't. You know, it wasn't. So, but that information came out a few years ago. So for me, it's like, all right, I'm hearing that now, what you're saying. But the thing is, why didn't anybody know? Because it was a big court case and it came out in that court case. That's all I'm asking, you know? And I'm not saying Trump should know, but like the organization should be paying attention to something that was that big.
Yeah,
absolutely. Mac, you can finish up. Sorry, buddy.
Oh yeah, I agree. What was the other thing? Oh, Obama was the first person to use the auto pen. Did not know that. So they actually found out that Obama used the auto pen.
Doubt it. Do not doubt it.
Oh, and one thing, the way that Rob Reiner and his wife died, they slit their throats. In Freemasonry, if you go against Freemasonry, one of the things you do is they slit your throat. So I found that interesting symbolism there.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, maybe it could be something like that. He turned his back on them, or like Lisa was saying earlier, it could be the confused, druggy son that was all enraged that couldn't get his next fix, or so pissed off at maybe possible abuse that happened when he was younger. I don't know. I kind of half want to read this one, but kind of half don't. Greg, your countryman, Greg 3012 dropped a $10 Rumble rant. Lisa says, "Hi all," and I lost it because it disappeared there. But Isaiah dropped another one. He says he wished that Rob Reiner could come back to life so he could unalive him again. Apparently he didn't like him that much, so just kind of letting that out there. But yeah, great show, guys. Let me just kind of go over to the D Lives and say goodbye to the folks over here. Nope, and I'm hitting the wrong button as I face mute. Susie Q, Debbie Roush, and P Dancer, the top 3 contributors over there on D Live. I'm dropping in 50 diamonds into the bucket. We got 66 diamonds coming at you guys in. Now Debbie knows that I'm actually opening the chest up. 24, 23, and it's coming. And then over on the Foxhole, where we got, I think we got about close to, telling me here on Rumble, altogether like 1,300 folks here watching. But they're not all reporting.
Give us a thumbs up. It's free.
Yes, the free thumbs up. We can definitely use that. And a follow if you haven't on all the other channels, guys, too. Just in case, you never know. Did I not set a live for today? Foxhole? I don't see my. And even if I didn't set the live, it should have. Oh wait, here it is. Oh, I'm live with Matthew from Truth Not Fiction Matters still, because I never set the live today. unpilled. So sorry about that, guys. I don't know if people dropped more cans and stuff here today, but I think these are from today. Yes. So I'm going to thank Bois Blanc for the cookie, One Thunder for the can, Chatty KC for another cookie, Sean Joe with a cookie, and Sean Joe with 2 more cookies, followed by yet another cookie by Steve B 15601. And then Mr. Tin Man, okay, I know that's from today. He said he dropped us the gift of the cans and stuff here. He's, hey, mister, how's it going? Good interview. Thank you for that. And then Punk Q Rocker 4Q with 217 gold pills. So I'm releasing the scratch-ins. Hopefully they release okay, because I did not set that up. And want to always thank the mods at the end of the show. Thank you very much for your help out there. We do appreciate it. And for Mac and Lisa, we do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Hello, guys. Something special is happening in here. That's right. It's Brackets and Jackets. Bringing it back for Brackets and Jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks. Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast and Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton, and Epstein is Haiti, and Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Brian Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is Brackets and Jackets for the denizens of islands.
Yeah.